All right, ladies,
Okay, I think we're disconnected because now it's back on.
fun topic. We're gonna talk about money. Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! And this can be a pretty heavy and serious topic. I teach workshops, and I had a gal literally get up and walk out because she was so triggered by the topic. And some people are. When we talk about money, you know, based on our programming, based on our beliefs around money, based on our money scripts, you know, that we've had throughout our lives. And so I wanted to kind of start out with that is, let's just kind of have a little participation. What does money mean to you?
Freedom, choices.
Freedom,
Very sweet product.
choices, more Mary Kay products. What else?
Vacation was simplify life.
Pardon me?
Simplify your life.
Simplify your life.
When I walk into somewhere with fancy cheeses, I want to have no budget. I want to be able to buy whatever. I
No
want.
budget. Okay.
Yeah.
Shopping.
It's like carried about, can I do this? Am I able to do this? It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. No problem.
Being able to spend where you'd like, whatever you want.
And I'd rather not have to think about it. I'd rather be able to think about other things. And so if there was money that I didn't have to think about because it was there, then I could just think I could be so much more productive.
No worries.
I like no payment, like we just pay for everything in full upfront, so we don't have monthly payments on things.
Debt free, no payments. Freedom is a big one. Freedom,
Yeah.
choice. What about security?
Yes.
Does that feel true for anybody?
Yes.
What about opportunity?
Yes.
Choices,
Yes.
relaxation. A
Yes.
lot of the things that you guys have said, right?
Yeah.
Independence, no stress. Okay, so what if most of what we have bought from others about, most of what our money script and our beliefs about money are what we bought from others, what our programming was. That's all it really is. We attach so much meaning and significance in our world. We're still in a world where we're in a three-dimensional world where it requires money and resources to be able to have food, shelter, you know, gas, comfort, heat, all of those kinds of things, security. So we're still in that kind of a reality, but money is just energy. Money is just energy. So we're going to take a little bit of a different approach on it because we do attach meaning and significance. And for some people, when they think about money, they think negatively, like not enough, scarcity. So we're going to hit some of that. And money, there's a lot of different topics around money, but it's not about just being able to create and generate money. It's about managing money. It's about being able to have money. It's about being able to have money because some people can actually make money and create money, but they cannot hold on to a dime. Okay, so we're gonna kind of go full circle and talk about all of this, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah. Yes.
And again, abundance is not just about the amount of money that you have in your bank account. It's about having more of everything in your life. That's what abundance is. Abundance is about everything that you are willing to receive. Some people are a lot more comfortable with not having money than being willing to have money. It's their point of view. So these are just some of the viewpoints that people have passed down to me in my workshops. If you have money, maybe it was stolen or taken from somebody else, or somebody else was taken advantage of for people that have a lot of money, or used others to get it. Or if you have it, others don't. That's a scarcity mindset, which is the opposite of abundance mindset. Or you don't deserve to have it because you haven't worked hard enough. Anybody have that? A lot of us were raised in the generation, you have to earn it, you know, blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice, discipline, all of those things are attached to money. Money is evil. Okay, yeah, oftentimes people who've been brought up in certain belief systems, not just religious, but belief systems, that money is evil or the root of all evil, all of that kind of thing. Money causes problems in your life. It is the #1 cause for divorce. It is, that is true, by the way. Has anybody ever heard of Uncle Shelby, Dr. Shelby, Shel Silverstein, in his books? He has these little ABCs, but he takes kind of an adult humorous approach. He says, money, M stands for money. Money is evil. Money makes mommy and daddy fight. Go to mommy's purse and get the money and send it to Shel Silverstein P.O. Box. I just thought I'd throw a little fun in there because it can be such a serious topic. Money is a heavy topic for a lot of people. Sometimes even a lot more money requires a lot more responsibility. Mary Kay always used to say to those who much is given, much is expected, right? Money can cause problems in your life. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money doesn't buy happiness. I don't need money. Some people might have that approach. It doesn't buy happiness. That is true. There are a lot of people who have a lot of money or abundance that are not very happy,
Yeah.
right? It's about what you can, the choices that you can have by having enough or just barely enough. Or the opposite, money can buy choices, which can create happiness. So the limits of your reality are based on the amount of money that you are willing to allow yourself to have. Either just enough to survive, paycheck to paycheck, or in Mary Kay, we say paycheck to paycheck, or just slightly more than you need. You can be okay with that. But some are not willing to have a lot of money. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to self-disclose a little bit because we grew up without a lot of money, but we had what we needed. We had all of our needs met and we got to do activities and all the things. And we were very disciplined. We had to do chores and work the yard and the garden and the barn and the chores and animals and all that. But there was this script that went around, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. We can't afford that, those extra things. And that was just, again, my parents' came through the Depression, and it was about really, really being mindful about everything you spent. And that's great. I mean, I'm grateful for that reality. And then I grew up, I went off to college and parents paid for the first 2 years, but after that I was on my own and they were waiting for me to come back to Sandpoint with a full-time job waiting for me in the accounting office that my mom worked in. And I'm like, I'm going to go down to Boise and go to school somewhere. I was on my own at 19, literally like on my own with about $700 in my pocket and came down, got a full-time job pretty quick, had a roommate. She ditched me within 6 months and went back to North Idaho on my own completely. It was such a turning point, a beautiful, wonderful, independent turning point in my life. I was not relying on anybody. Nobody was telling me what to do with my money. But I literally had to work full time while going to college. That's part of the reason I went for 7 years. If you heard that thing last night, off and on, part-time, full-time, taking breaks and things like that. Then I got married and we created a lot of money. And I had a hard time having it. I'm just telling you my own experience because I've kind of gone the gamut and worked full circle. And this has been something I've really had to work with is not having enough, or having just enough to get by like growing up. And my parents were hardworking and, very respectful, had everything we needed and wanted it and some extra. I worked really hard. Then, the poor college student, mentality for a while. Then I got married. And when I got married, I was actually making great money. I was out on my own, had my own apartment, had my own car. I was like doing great, got married. And then we created a lot of abundance very quickly. It was difficult for me to have it. And I was in a lot of judgment of my former husband for what he would spend it on too. So here's the key that I learned about that. When you judge anybody for having money or what they do with money, you cut yourself off from it. Judgment of any kind takes you out of allowance. It takes you out of the flow of being able to receive anything that you want, not just money. Judgment, it's a tricky one. It takes you out of alignment with divine. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. But again, I want to repeat this because the limits of your reality are based on the amount of money you are willing to allow yourself to have. Whether it's just enough, and for some people that's perfectly great, or paycheck to paycheck, or slightly more than you need, or I want to be abundant. So, and this is in my affirmation, so I have enough to, pay my bills, to save, to gift, and to have. Saving is having, okay? So if you think that you have to work really, really hard for money, does anybody believe that? I did for a lot of my life. You have to earn it, deserve it to be able to have it, okay? Yeah. You have to work really hard to be able to have money. And if you have that mindset, that will always be your reality. If you have the mindset, it just always comes, money just flows to me, blessings are chasing me down. I am in alignment with my creator. Money comes from source, by the way, not from what we do. Understand that. Because it can come from all different ways, shapes, and forms when you least expect it, when you're in alignment with it, okay? So we're talking about being able to generate money first, and then we're gonna talk about saving and having and all that. So be willing to receive everything. Like, we all believe that we deserve to breathe, right? Do we have to work for that? Or is it just our divine birthright? Just so be willing to have abundance and money, and abundance of everything, not just money, but joy. We're talking about money today, so that's what I'm focusing on. But everything you've decided you can't have equals your inability to receive money. So when we're in judgment, again, we can't receive anything when you judge other people that have a lot of money. And some of the reasons why, what are some of the reasons why we judge people with money?
Jealousy.
Okay, jealousy.
They do
Programming.
bad things with it.
They might use it in corrupt ways.
Our programming.
Greedy, programming,
To feel superior, like make better choices.
okay? Maybe they're not deserving. Maybe they're immoral or greedy. They took it from others. Or again, that limited amount. There's only a limited amount. Like if they have that much, then other people can't have that much. And that is not the truth. The truth is there's more than enough to go around for everybody to have. And I do agree, we're in a time in our world where things can become polarized. But when we talk about the bigger scheme of it, there's more than enough to go around. And we, based on our ability to receive and our alignment and our relationship with money, we're the only ones that keep us from having whatever it is that we want. And whatever you want is absolutely perfectly fine. Whether it's just enough to be able to have, to get by, whether it is enough to also be able to give, enough to be able to be debt free. That's true freedom, right? Not having any debt or owing anybody. All of those things. So you choose, what is the reality that you want with money? I've been all over the map, and we accomplished a goal about a year and a half ago, to be 100% debt free. No mortgage, no payments, nothing. And that's been about a 5-year goal, just so you know. That was something that we worked on and made real estate choices and traded and blah, blah, blah. And that was just something that I wanted. It was just something that I was determined to have in my life. And again, that may not be everybody's goal. It's like, we use the bank's money to build businesses, that's fine. But that is the reality that you can create for yourself, and that is true freedom. So anything that is functioning from judgment cuts off your ability to receive everything. I've said that 3 times now because that's how important it is. So your point of view creates your reality. Do you guys believe that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If you have the point of view, it's a struggle to get money, you'll always struggle regarding money. It's just paper. If you have the point of view, the only way to get money is to work a 9-to-5 job. That will be your reality. You'll create that life to prove the rightness of your point of view. It's called an evidentiary contrivance. If you have a belief system, you'll find or attract all the evidence that supports that belief. And again, it's not right, wrong, good, bad, but really examine, like, what are the thoughts I have about money? What's my relationship with money?
What'd you call that again?
Evidentiary contrivance. EVIDENTIARY contrivance, just like it sounds. We pick up over 98% of our viewpoints from the world and make them our own truth, and then operate from them our whole lives until we change that point of view.
What was that percentage?
98%. 98%. And about 90% of our programming, by the way, is intact by the time we're 7 years old. And so we're operating from those subconscious beliefs. We don't even realize that is running the show. Your conscious mind might say another thing, but your subconscious in that programming is what's going to create your reality. So you can change that through what? What do I talk about all the time? Positive affirmations, reprogramming, tracing new graves in the brain, or grooves in the brain. Remapping the brain. There's lots of different names for it, but those neural paths are really strongly rooted. And so this isn't a class on positive affirmations, but it is such a powerful topic. And, at the very beginning of my affirmations is, I'm a money magnet. I am fearless in letting money go out, knowing that my higher power is my immediate and endless supply. I attract all the money that I need for my needs to spend, to save, and to gift. That's in my affirmation that I listen to every single morning. And that has become my reality.
For your affirmation?
Sure, I'll send that out to you.
Oh, good, it's recorded.
Oh, yeah, it's on here. So money is a part of our current reality. We can't really live without it at this point, right? So, but how much we make is significant. We can use it to abuse ourselves by not allowing ourselves to have it. Because if we don't have it, there's things that we can't do. Sometimes that's self-sabotage or punishment. Anybody relate?
Yeah, ouch.
I didn't want to do that anyway, so there. So I didn't reach that, I didn't reach that goal because, well, I didn't really want it anyway.
It has to stay in savings. The
Okay.
money has to stay in savings.
I don't think that's your point of view. I think that's someone else, but yes,
No, well, yes, it's my husband's.
I know that. So the purpose of money is to change people's realities. It's just an exchange of energy. When you don't make money the issue, then everything comes to you in ways you cannot imagine. It's just limiting beliefs and scarcity. When you make money the issue, then you will worry over a nickel and a dime instead of creating what's actually possible monetarily. You have to be creative with your money instead of only trying to save it. Okay, saving is good. I'm not knocking that at all. I'm a big proponent of that because that's the havingness part. But whatever you've already decided, if you've decided you don't have enough, you will create not enough. And you will cut yourself off from having money because if it were easy, there would be no value to it. Only if it's hard to come by are you willing to have it. I'm not projecting that out that that's your truth, but that's a lot of people's truth around money. And that's part of the reason why there's a very small percentage that has a lot of it. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons, okay? Is that we hear stories all the time about people who go through life without anything, and maybe they're a hardworking athlete, and they come into $20 million contract, you know, and they're at first year of college or whatever, or their first year in the NBA. Or we hear stories all the time about people. I call it rags to riches story. Mary Kay is one of them. You know, she started with nothing, a life savings of $5,000, and created this multi-billion-dollar company, not so she could become a billionaire. But even if she did it for that reason, there's nothing wrong with that. She just wasn't that person. She wanted to create opportunity for so many people to do the same. How about Lisa Madsen that just when it walked across stage for the $17 million plaque? That's how much she's earned in Mary Kay. Is that bad or wrong? She's helped a lot of people, but did she have to? No. But that's how our opportunity is designed. I'm getting off on track, okay. But how many of you think that you have to do something in order for you to feel that you should be able to have money? Be honest. I was there most of my life. Most of my life. So it's about having a good relationship with money. And like I said before, do you breathe? Do we have to deserve to have air, to breathe the air? No, it's available in an abundant amount. We all get to have it. Just because someone has more of it or needs more of it doesn't mean someone doesn't. Think of money that way. Make it fluid. It's not about deserving. It's about your willingness to have it. So there's 4 elements that I just kind of want to talk to. This is a very deep and wide subject, but I'm kind of summarizing it a little bit. 4 elements to generating wealth. The first one, be willing to have it. Be willing to have money. Again, and I want to talk about that for a minute. Sometimes people feel like, well, maybe I haven't made good choices in the past, so I don't deserve to have it. So I'm going to limit how much I have so that I can be in integrity with myself. And you judge yourself, cuts you off from having money. That's just one example. What are other reasons why people might not be willing to have money?
Judgment from family.
Judgment from others, absolutely.
They're afraid it will change them negatively.
They think they might get a little
Become all highfalutin.
high and mighty. I know somebody projected to me that I was one of those eagle women or eagle. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like there was this judgment about women that live in Eagle. I got looked into that. I was like, what are you talking about? And it was about that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not me, but okay, if that's, you
Oh,
know,
like a real housewife.
I guess, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? I honest to God did not know what they were talking about, but I mean, that's kind of one of those things of that judgment about what people might judge you for, and we do care about that sometimes more than we probably should. Are they writing your bills out every month? Are they paying your paycheck? Are they paying for your lifestyle? Don't take advice from somebody you wouldn't trade places with. And don't allow those projections and judgments to program you about what's okay for you. You get to choose and create your own reality, but you create your own economy too with money. So the first thing is being willing to have money. The second is to generate it by attracting it, by being in harmony with it instead of efforting. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned is that when you get in alignment and you're doing what you love. When I got into Mary Kay, I did not get into Mary Kay to make money. I've made a ton of money in Mary Kay. I know that if I was up on that stage as a national, probably be getting a $2 million plaque by now. And all the commissions that I've made, the sales I've made in Mary Kay for the amount of time that I've been in, right? I've made a lot of money. I don't know where it all went, but it's a great life.
You're not, you're debt free now, you have lots of fun things.
I
that-
do. I do. I've had a
Requirement.
great life. But in the beginning, and I had to really, really work through this, I had the belief, I grew up with the belief that I had to do a lot of efforting in order to deserve to have money. And especially after I got divorced from my ex and my lifestyle significantly changed, okay? And I went, you know, I can recreate that if I want, and I did. I bought another big house in Eagle, and I went out there and I worked those brides and I held parties. I had about $3,000 a month to make up extra in bills for that move that I made, that big step up. And Mary Kay allowed that for me. And so I was willing to do that. Was that necessary? There could have been other ways, right? But it was a beautiful example and proof to myself. It's not about just efforting. It's about, and that's what I believed then. So that's what I did. Since then, I've come to learn it's about being an allowance and allowing money to come through different streams of income in many ways, shapes, and forms by being in alignment. And that can be all of you. You know, Mary Kay might be that for you. Maybe you have a full-time job that you love, something that you're passionate about, other things. And then Mary Kay might be your little side hustle. So instead of just limiting it to Mary Kay or your job, be open to what is in alignment for you. And it's really about listening and paying attention about what you're inspired to do. And when you do what you love, money comes to you. Maybe not from that thing, just like we talk about all the time in Mary Kay, like when you do a party or you do share appointments, it may not come to you immediately, the sales. But I promise you, for 35 years I've been in this business, every ounce of effort that you put into your Mary Kay business is going to come back to you. And oftentimes, not just that initial time that you spent, over and over again with the reorders and the unexpected website orders, which are still so fun. Heidi and I were talking about that this morning. It just never gets old. When I was in Texas, I think I had 4 website orders, hundreds of dollars when I was on vacation at my son's wedding. You know, that's the kind of thing. So I love Mary Kay because of the multiple streams of income, but I also have the belief that I don't have to effort to have it. It just comes. I do all the things that I feel called to do. I do other things, most of you know. And yes, that does generate some income too. I teach other workshops. Sometimes that does. Sometimes I do a lot of free stuff too. So when you do what you love and you're not worried about it, it can just flow. It can just come. You can just have it. So that's a second thing, is to generate money by being in alignment and attracting it and not just efforting. Now, I'm not saying you just sit on your couch and you just meditate or do affirmations and you just wait for boatloads of money to come. That's not what I'm saying. Then you'll take inspired action, but it's not about, you know, that whole, you know, beating the street and working all the hours and efforting and trying to get ahead. That was the old way, but we're in a new era now. It's about alignment and it's about attraction, not just efforting. It's both. So number 3 is educate yourself about money and finances. And I don't know the exact statistics on this right now, but let's just say if you are married or you have a significant other, you're going to outlive them. They say average of 10 years, women to men. So having said that, you know, many of you are already independent and self-sufficient. Having said that, it's good to know about money and educate yourself. And I grew up, my mom was an accountant, so I did that all through high school. I learned to do taxes. I learned a lot about money, but I still had a scarcity mindset. And so it's learning about it. And I'm gonna give you some resources about that too, but educate yourself. It's important for us to know about money, about how to invest, or if you want to hire somebody to help you with that, that's fine too. But know a little bit about it. Most of you probably do because you're running your business. And we are going to break that down a little bit too. And then number 4, I think this is just my personal opinion. You can call it tithing or whatever. I call it generosity of spirit, of giving, we're called. So when generosity of spirit is, it is giving, we're called. It doesn't mean you have to do a specific amount on a regular basis. If that, fills your heart and that's your belief, do that. But when you give, you open up your hand to receive. So, if you're the type of person that sees somebody that's panhandling or homeless, or they did fill the boot the other day and I put money in the boot, coming and going both ways within 10 minutes, because why not? I had it in my purse. If you feel that you want to give. And when you hold on so tight for dear life, you're not open to receiving. So it's about the balance and the flow of receiving and then also releasing. Incoming, outgoing, generosity of spirit. So there's a thing about having money versus getting versus saving versus spending. So I want to break that down a little bit. Having money is more a way of being. It's a level of energy that feels like there's no lack in your life. You don't feel like you need to get money, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're thinking about getting money, you're focused on not enough. And some of the scripting around that might be, I can't afford this, I can't have this, I can't get this. So if you have any of that, really, really take those thoughts captive and maybe turn that around into a different affirmation. So you will function from the idea that you don't have enough. So you've got to get more, and more is never enough if you have that mindset.
Yeah.
I want to tell you like an example of that. Everyone knows who Jennifer Lopez is probably.
Yeah.
And there was an interview, this was many years ago, when she was in movies and singing and dancing and fragrance and design and jewelry and like all these different things. And I saw her interviewed and I'm like, wow, like she is ambitious. That girl is a go-getter. I never judged her for all of that. I'm like, wow, she's really hardworking. But I remember her doing an interview saying, every day I'm afraid it's all going to go away.
Mhm.
Every day I'm afraid it's all gonna, because she had that mindset. So, that's one thing, to be joyful and excited about doing all these things, to be creative, which I'm not judging that she's not, but to have that mindset means you're always gonna have to be doing all those things to be able to maintain it. Whatever you maintain, you will have to always continue to have your hand on to. Whatever you create, you'll have to maintain. So it's about, yes, it's a combination of attracting, which is kind of being in alignment, and then also inspired action, I would call it, instead of efforting. When you're taking inspired action, you're in your joy and your bliss, and you're in vibrational harmony with abundance in general. Okay. So let's talk about spending versus having. I addressed this a little bit. Some people spend money all the time until they don't have money. I know people in my life like that. By spending and not being willing to have money, you can end up being a slave to the things that you bought with that money, especially if you bought it on credit. And I kind of did that Dave Ramsey. I didn't actually officially go through a course, but I did it on my own. And so for probably a matter of about 8 years, I didn't use credit cards at all. Like I had a debit card and I had one, because you have to have them to rent cars or things, but I didn't use credit. And that was how I got myself completely debt free. Everything, I wouldn't spend it if I didn't have it. And so that might be a good place to start, is having that money on the front end. That is a whole different energy and vibration when you're coming from that kind of a place of abundance, knowing, and then thinking about, like, is what I'm buying going to bring me joy? There's all these different programs out there about, decluttering and things like that. Like if I buy something, especially clothing, what am I getting rid of? What am I passing on to somebody else? I'm not going to buy it unless it's going to bring me joy, makes me feel good. Not just because it was on sale and I buy a bunch of stuff. I used to do that though. like Ross, TJ Maxx, oh my gosh, I can get 5 for the price of 1, it's practically free. Right? It's called Girl Now. It's on sale. So again, if you're doing that, you can, if you're not careful, be a slave to what you bought with that money, those things that eventually you're gonna wanna release anyway, because everybody's downsizing and decluttering. So saving again, I call saving tithing to the church of you to begin with, okay? So if you wanna change your financial condition, you have to be willing to have money. Everyone has a different amount that they feel that once they have this, they'll be okay. Like maybe in your savings account, if I have this, about this much, then I feel secure. This also gives you an awareness as to what it's like to have money. The stress comes off and you generate it with more ease. One example that came up is like oftentimes people who are raised in a wealthy family, they make choices in their life, whether it's through jobs, for education, jobs, marrying well, to maintain that for generation after generation, because they're used to having it. I'm not talking about the entitled ones that, you know, maybe make bad choices or that are destructive with it. Again, that's a judgment from me right now, but you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, you know, oftentimes because they don't have a scarcity mindset, they continue to be in alignment with it. They're okay with having a lot of money because that's a lifestyle they're used to and accustomed to. So they're able to have it and they make choices so that they do. That's just a little example on the side. So when you want to buy something with the money, ask, what will this add to my life? And again, I'm not talking about Mary Kay inventory. That is a whole nother game. I'm all about having it because as much as you have on that shelf, you can double that and that can be your income for the month. If you have $10,000, you can make $20,000 at any given time because you have that right there in front of you. So we're gonna go back to that, but I'm talking about consumer purchases. Okay,
What was that question that you said right before that? It was,
well, okay, when you want to buy something with money, with whatever money, ask, what will this add to my life? If it's something of beauty and you're gonna look at it and it's gonna make you feel good every day, it may be that I just want that, I'm gonna spend a couple $100 on it or whatever. Okay? Yeah. If you feel like spending it, ask, how can I create and generate the money to pay for this? Instead of using your savings or putting it on credit. Yep. If you feel like spending it, ask, how can I create and generate the money to pay for this? Instead of using the money that you've saved or money that, you know, you put on a credit card. Because that is coming from abundance.
I do that a lot.
You do, I know you do.
That's what
I've watched you do that.
Yeah.
How can I, you know, get the money for this to happen? And sometimes it, like magic, it shows up, right? In unexpected ways.
And examples, leadership. I did
I
not have
remember that.
any money saved for leadership, but I knew that I was going, and I was like, hey, I need to earn $1,700 this week in whatever way it needs to come to me. And I did. I hit $1,597, I think, in weekend
I remember.
sales and random things coming in, and I was just like, here it is. Now I get to go.
You were in attraction mode
Yeah.
and you made the decision, I'm going. It's like, okay, how can I, you know, place of receiving it, right?
Yeah. How's it gonna happen? Where's it gonna come from?
Yep. So a little example, and I've done this with two of my 3 boys, 2 of them live here. I'm $500 and say, you put this in your wallet and you do not spend it, no matter what. You keep it, you carry it around with you, you get used to having money. I'm gonna tell on him for just a second, because my oldest, he would give away the shirt on his back until he had nothing. That was just him. My youngest has this funky on and off relationship with money where like he'll spend it just to not have it. Okay, isn't that the weirdest thing? I mean, we have sat down and had so many money talks. He's getting it. He's getting it. So I said, you do not spend that $100. I don't care if you don't have gas. You figure it out. You do not spend that $100. You keep that to get used to having money. And you know, a lot of books about money say just go around vibrationally spending it all day long. Oh, I can spend it on this, but you don't really spend it. You just vibrationally spend it. Ooh, I love that dress. It's $100. Okay, I could. I'm not going to though. You know, you go around pretend spending. That's one of the exercises. There's all kinds of them about back when we used to use checkbooks. You put a balance in your checkbook and you add that amount every single day and you have to spend that during that day. If it's $10,000, you have to find a way to spend it because it doesn't carry over the next day. To get used to having money and having those choices is getting yourself in the alignment and the mindset of having it. So carrying cash in your pocket or carrying money you don't spend, it gives you the feeling of what it's like to have money. So you can just go around all day long, pretend spending. And this process is going to put you in the vibration of having money and choices to buy, even if you don't.
God, I love that.
Isn't that great?
I can already feel like
Lighter,
the thought of just pretend spending.
pretend spend. It's fun. Eliminate the words, I can't afford it. I'll try to save for it. I don't really want it anyway. I shouldn't be spending on it, Deb. I love you, you know.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Eliminate all of that. I have a whole page of money affirmations for you guys. Are you excited?
Yes.
They're already put together for you. I even tweaked a couple of them because they weren't worded right. So eliminate those words. Enjoy what you do, which we know we love our Mary Kay. It's fun. It's not work. It's not rocket science. Nobody dies. It's fun making people feel good. Just yesterday, I know Jazz and her, Heidi. I almost said April because I was looking at you. We're talking about, putting some color looks together for Isabel. She goes, it feels so good to be able to do that, to be able to have that inventory, to be able to put together a little look to make her feel good. Didn't that make you feel good? But didn't that make you guys feel good?
Yeah,
To take the time and put that together and be able to have that and do that for others.
yeah.
So love what you do. Do what you love and the money will follow. There's a whole book about it. I read it a long time ago. It was before I could still really understand it and get it. But there is definitely something to that because as I said, I did not join Mary Kay for the money. I didn't need the money at that time. I needed sisterhood and her purpose more than anything. I needed purpose. I needed, some kind of accomplishment, achievement, independence, purpose. I needed to contribute, even though I didn't need to, but I know that was filling up my cup. But guess what happened? I started helping other people and along comes Heidi Larson and Jeannie Bishop and, I won my first car, then they won cars, helped them become directors. We did $500,000. We won our first pink Cadillac. I made a ton of money. And guess what? I'm get out of here. I'm gonna tell on my former husband. He's like, you need to not make so much money because you're putting us in a higher tax bracket.
Oh, my God.
So guess what? When I got divorced, it took me a long time to overcome that. It took me a long time after I was no longer with him to overcome that mindset and to be okay with having money because I helped him every bit of the way create a lot of income, but it wasn't mine to spend as I chose. That's why I'm picking on Debbie because we have matching pictures. And not to say that he was horrible or, that, but sometimes there can be that control. Money can be associated with control, right?
This is one of the views.
It is, and let's
Very much.
associate it now with creation and not control. Okay, so I'm just self-disclosing all day long, as some of you may be able to relate, but educate yourself about money and finance. Know what it takes for you to live and create a spending fund. I'm gonna help you with that. So generosity of spirit is a way of being in your life. It's about living your life with a sense of joyful generation. One of the big things that you can do to increase your generosity of spirit is to gift with no expectation of return or obligation. Does anything else feel as good as giving unconditionally and just really helping somebody's life shift by helping them out or doing something to make them feel good? And I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir because I think a lot of you already are that. You already get that. So we have to take care of our basic needs first. But when you do that, guess what? You get the gift of being able to make a difference in somebody else's life by gifting them your time, your resources, or buying something for them that if they're in need at that time. So I think that's a really big part of being able to have a good relationship with money is having that generosity of spirit. You can call it tithing, you can call it whatever. And be grateful when you receive. Have gratitude. Thank your customers. Anytime anybody pays you, thank you so much. even if you gave them a product or a service. Be in a place of gratitude also when others receive. Sometimes we're like, well, why is it that all the really bad people get all the money? And again, that's a judgment. And while it might be true that on our judgment, on our thought forms about what people do to get it, that some don't deserve to have that much while others don't, well, we create our own reality. So get out of any judgment that if other people receive it, that you can't, because you're going to cut yourself off. Be in a place of absolutely no judgment, not just about money, about everything. That is a tough one. I grew up in a small town. Everyone talking about each other and judgment about this. And in Sandpoint, you know, resort town, there's the working class and the multi-millionaires that come in from California or other places. This is since I was little. I mean, this is not just since COVID, you know, when a lot of people moved to Idaho, but I just remember hearing all the time, oh my God, these people are coming in and they're driving our property taxes up and we can't even afford to keep our property on the lake and blah, blah, blah. Just, I have a ton of family. So I would hear a lot about that and created my own judgment about people that had a lot versus, you know, the working class. So just really pay attention to where those judgments are for you of anybody with anything. And be an allowance in alignment with receiving what you're asking for. So some resources, Deb was asking me not too long ago about money books. Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill is a classic. It's called Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It's been around for a really long time. This next one, actually Bill Cantrell told me about. It's really old, it's out of print, but I think you can find it. And it is You Too Can Be Prosperous from Robert Russell. I'm gonna move this over here because it's halfway in the sun.
Robert Russell.
Robert Russell. It's You Too Can Be Prosperous. It's like just a little paperback, but it's kind of before its time, I think, because it really talks about the spirit of money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. That was what made me want to be 100% debt free. Millionaire Mindset, T. Harv Eckert. That's a great book. Somebody gave that to me in my business networking group, BNI. T. Harv Eckert, E-K-E-R, T-H-A-R-V-E-K-E-R. And then she's a little bit, she uses a lot of naughty words, but I absolutely love her. It's called You Are a Badass at Making Money from Jen Sincero. I love her other book too, You Are a Badass, but You're a Badass at Making Money. She takes all those, you know, timeless books and modernizes it, but she does use a lot of 4-letter words, but she doesn't, it's appropriate though, in the way that she, okay, I'm just justifying. You Are a Badass at Making Money from Jen Sincero.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
So our second or third
Some
relative, my mom's cousin's granddaughter or something like that, Tori Dunlap, wrote The Financial Feminist.
Ooh.
And she actually, I get emails from her like every day. She has a podcast called her first 100,000, her first 100K.
The Financial Feminist.
The Financial Feminist by Tori with an I, Dunlap.
Dunlap, okay.
Yeah, and she uses some naughty words too, but you know, she talks about getting a high yield savings account.
Yep.
Paying off your debt, you know, and she gets people, she has women out of debt in months kind of thing, and.
You guys, ICU has a 5% high yield savings account. I'm making about over $1,000 a month. in
Yeah,
savings.
I opened one just a few months ago too. ICU.
ICU has a 5%
Oh, I have. a
high yield
chapter.
savings account, and even Wells Fargo, I have some in there, and that one's over 5.5%, but that's gonna change in a couple of months. High yield savings.
High yield savings is the way to go.
Certain amounts will give you, you know, obviously depending on how much is in there, what you're gonna make, but you know, if you're not too sure about the stock market, you know, and I mean, I have crypto, I have gold, I have silver, I have some cash, I have a little bit in the bank, and then the rest is in the credit union. I'm not telling you where to put your money, but you know,
As
just
opposed to a regular savings
diversify.
account where you're
the
getting.
high yield is
High yield's
fixed out.
the way to go.
Yeah.
0.25%.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna spend too much time like during this going into all the ways we make money in Mary Kay, because I was printing all that up and I started to go down that rabbit hole. That's like a whole class in and of itself, and it's all available on Mary Kay in Touch, you know, on our advanced brochure, which is constantly changing, but I'm gonna give you some resources today. But I really encourage you all to get on there and study it, because I had to kind of go, okay, what's 8%, what's 9 now? I had to go kind of refresh myself, because things have changed a little bit. But there's a lot available to us. You guys, we can make boatloads of money. This is just a vehicle in Mary Kay. What, the more people that you help, and the Nationals used to say, the more you wear, or the more you share, the more you wear, you know, like their St. John suits and stuff. But the more people that you help, and this is how Mary Kay designed it, the more you were compensated for it. So when you get outside of yourself and you focus on others, and some people say it's multi-level, we know it's not. However, Mary Kay pays us very well. Number one, to sell the product. That is number one, first and foremost. Number two, and I'm gonna go into that in a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I do wanna kind of point that out. So let's do this. Will you just take this and pass it around? Because this is just like dumbing it down to the basics as a consultant. Now there's a lot more avenues of income for directors, okay? Because you're spending a lot more of your time and your energy and your resources, you know, with pricing and contests and promotions and places of meeting and all of the things, you know, coaching and working with and advancing your consultants, which takes away some of the time from your personal business. So Mary Kay continues to keep building those layers of income. The more people that you help, the more that you do that, the more you get what you want. It comes back to you. But just starting out, I'll let you guys get those. First and foremost, I'm gonna say, yes, we make 50%, but I'm gonna break this down for you. 40% profit from sales, 10% towards your business expenses, okay? I'm gonna give you some examples here too, but team building, okay? Each new Great Start qualified team member that you have on your team, you automatically and immediately get a $50 bonus as soon as they get qualified. Great Start qualified, when you recruit somebody, when they order 600, and that can be cumulative within their first 4 months of joining and their Great Start period, you as the recruiter of that person get a $50 bonus. Then on top of that, when you have 1 to 2 active team members, you're a senior consultant, and you get 4% every time, everything they order from the company. Company keeps track of all of this and everything. 1 to 2 active, you get 4% commission. That's senior consultant. When you have 3 to 4 active team members, that is Star Team Builder or Red Jacket, you get 4 to 8%. That did change a little bit ago. So if your production, and this is your order included, by the way, you and your team's production is under 1,000, and you have 3 on your team, you're getting 4% commission on their orders. If you have production of 1,000 to 17, oh, there's a typo, sorry. 1,000 to 1799, you get 6%. Because some people have small teams, but great producing
I
teams.
didn't realize our own production.
Here
counted
it
on
comes.
Oh.
When you have production of 1,800 or more, that equals 8%, and that does include your own personal order. That's just with 3 to 4 team members. It used to be, we only got 4% with 3 team members. And then we could get 9 to 13 as a team leader, but this has changed, okay? It changed a couple times because they had different elite team leader, but they took that away. Okay, so this is what it is right now. I looked it up. 5 to 7 active as team leader. That means you have at least 5 to 7 active on your team, and it's 9 to 13%. But here's how that works. How do you get 13%? You have 5 or more team members, you get 9%. But if you have 5 on your team that place a minimum order and you do 600 wholesale, you'll always be at 13%. I've never gotten less than 13% since my first year and a half in the business, like when I started team building. Because I always do 600 every month, $300 weeks is minimum goal. That's Star Consultant for you, but that's another reason why you want to shoot for Star or 600 a month, because when you have team members and 5 on your team, eventually you might have 12, 13, 14, 5 on your team place a minimum, and you do your 600, you're getting the highest commission, which is 13%. So as a director, your it's double, but you want to focus on your personal team and you having 600 wholesale in. 8 active, 8 or more active is called elite team leader. Now they used to have like a second line And it was very confusing. None of us could quite get our mind around it, so they changed it a little bit. There were two ways to do this, but with this one, again, 9 to 13%, and again, it's the same. 5 plus active on your team, you're getting 9%. 5 place orders of a minimum 225, and you place 600, you get 13%. So basically, a team leader and a lead team leader is the same. Okay. So, and again, bonus products for new consultants during Great Start period. This is why you want to get your new people on the Great Start app, and you track with your new people. Is, and it's kind of the director's job to initially share inventory, and I have a video and I follow up and all that. However, everybody that you have on your team, when they're Great Start, initially they get their bonus on their very first order in their first month plus 1. But in addition to that, during their first 4 months, that's the first 4 months of a new consultant is their Great Start period. During that 4 months, if they order additional, because she maxed it out, they order additional 600, every additional 600 that they order, not only do they get an extra $110 bonus, you as a recruiter get a $220 bonus in product from Mary Kay. You get 2 of those $110 bonus bundles for every Great Start qualified that gets their first Great Start qualified. Or that gets additional $600 wholesale orders. So it's getting people out there and, you know, out the gate, and you maxed out both, you know, because of your team building and your own sales too. So there's lots of money and free product out there that we can have even at a consultant level. Because I have people say, don't you have to be like way, way high up on the totem pole to make money in Mary Kay? It's like, no, you do not. If you want to, you can add to those avenues of income, but it all starts with your sales. That's where it starts. Does anybody have any questions about this piece of paper? It's pretty clear, huh?
I have a question. When
Okay.
you, like, under the 3, 4 active team members, start team builder, when it says production, what does that mean?
Okay, that means your wholesale order and their wholesale orders that month.
Okay,
So if you have 3 people and they each did 600 and you did a 600, that's 2,400, you'd be in the highest category. You'd be getting 80%.
It's like wholesale.
yeah,
Wholesale orders to the company. When I say production, it's wholesale orders to Mary Kay, and Mary Kay tracks all this. Those $50 bonuses, it used to be that we'd wait until the end of the month and it would close and then they'd pay that. Now we get it immediately, and as directors, it's 100. I'm not gonna get into director avenues of income. I want you to really get focused on this and start maxing out this marketing plan as it is now where you are. You have to know what it is though. And I was even confused. I had to go look it up and go, where's the 4 to 8 versus a 9 to 13 that it used to be? So this is it right now.
that's
Okay.
helpful.
And they've added a lot. So, you know, it's not just about you being successful, but getting your people like out the starting gate and promoting for them to team build and promoting, you know, for your team members to team build, because it used to be that if your team members were team building, this happened to me, before you're in DIQ, or even before you're a director, you don't get to count any of those people in your unit 24 or 30. So Ann Gossi, I helped 2 of my people each get 4 recruits. Heidi and my friend Terry, they each had 4 recruits. So 8 people went to Ann's unit and never came forward with me. Well, they changed this about 2 years ago. And so they started allowing second line. So your recruits